because comfort in bed without satisfaction on the goals is not my way. Yeah. So on the political wall, we never had any moment during the day to talk about this or that, even though we have so many issues arising, from the political end, especially looking at the GACHAGUA and the allies. So the new developing story is actually the fact that we are going to have more contestants for presidential seat, just as it was predicted. All of you know that Kenya, most people are selfish. You may agree with someone today that you're going to do something. Don't be surprised an hour later, an hour is even more, minutes later when they change and tell you they are not going to do it. Haven't you seen on Tom's channel, the comedian, that when you go to a meeting, don't ever bank on your colleagues? You may have agreed that you are going to actually set boundaries between you and the boss, or tell the truth, or ask for a better bargain, or share the grievances you have at work, only to be left on the streets alone. In the Kenyan language, tunasema kuachwa kwa mataa. You will be left on the streets alone. If all of you have been in Mombasa, mnajua kwenye kuna lights, kunaitwa lights on the way to Mtwapa. So utaachwa lights peke yako, right? Now this is the situation in politics. There's been war already that is landing, ladies and gentlemen, in the politicians on the opposition. And somebody had predicted it. I don't know who it was. I don't know whether it was David Wafula or who is it. There's a political commentator who already came up and said something about it. And I knew this was going to happen, because Kenyan politicians generally are selfish. I don't know whether we'll have a strain or rather species of politicians who are selfless in Kenya. And that is why we will never win against poor, bad governance or poor leadership. Whether people like it or not, it will be so hard to save Kenya from the hands of selfish or of bad governance, because of the selfish leadership that we have. The intentions from everyone is that I am better. Everyone comes out and they say, I'm the one to go on. I'm the one to go on. And so, at the end of the day, we will have so many candidates in presidential position. And finally, the 2 terms may be a shock of the year to many who have been shouting 2 terms. Now let's think about this. Of course, GACHAGUA has come with a very heavy message. And for those of you who are following him while he was abroad, somebody actually raised concern over the use of mother tongue. And this was someone from Kiambu. Who was it? It was not Waititu. Somebody should remind me. So he came up and said that when he goes to other nations and speaks in his mother tongue, though he is actually proving that it's his local language, but there is a message he's sending. Is he trying to talk to a specific group? Even though he's addressing matters of the entire country, things to do with corruption, a failed health system, a failed educational system, things to do with imprudence, things to do with impunity. But at the same time, he is doing something that is elevating him with a specific society while pulling out the rest. So if you actually followed GACHAGUA to USA, you saw that he was attending the cultural events and he was even speaking in his own language. Let's see here. want us to check here.
Are you haunted by a past relationship? Ending a bad, broken, or abusive relationship usually is not.
Hi, Anjal. So let's start from here. Hi.
In Machakos, you have said that the opposition have no policy, have no SERA, and you need to know how they will improve on your policies and your programs. Mr. President.
Hi, Mrs.
It is not possible to improve most of your programs. Your biggest program is lying. We obviously cannot improve on it. We want to bring a new government to put an end to lying. Mr. President, your legacy is abduction. How can we improve on abduction? We shall bring an end to abductions. Mr. President, your other big legacy is killing young children. How can you challenge us to improve on killing young children?
All right.
And importantly,
Auma anasema amechoka na hiyo kitu, tuweke ngoma. Tutaweka ngoma, but it will be after this, guys. Because the reality is that if we don't talk about this, ingawa tumechoka, hata mimi nimechoka sana with all that is happening in Kenya. But then, tutaendelea kusikia ngoma tu. Of course, ngoma itakuja. So Mrs. Hi, or Emmanuel Ouma Hi, Angel Hi. So guys, if you look at whatever GACHAGUA is actually saying here, he is proving himself that he's the man. Now go on the other hand, see Maraga, he's proving that he's the man. Go on the other hand, see GACHAGUA, he's proving he's the man. So who is the man? Who is the man? The fight has already started in opposition. The fight has already started. And that is why most people are saying that we wish the Gen Z, who are faceless, leaderless, tribalist, would be the one coming up with a candidate. Instead of now us having the recycle of the same people who have been in government, and maybe they had failures, all of them, in one way or the other. Then now they are coming back with different shades, and they'll begin fighting amongst themselves. At the end of the day, whatever we didn't want will come back. No wonder Emmanuel is so annoyed, anasema toa hiyo kitu hapo. Hey, he's doing the way we saw alikuwa nani? The musician, the Tanzanian Diamond na Kenya nani? The way they were actually on a performance, na mmoja akasema toa hiyo ngoma hapo. Na tuweke ngoma ya maana, you see? So, Mishi Zero, hi. Welcome on board. You actually see the hard politics in Kenya. Hard politics. You never see it coming until it's here, you know? So now, guys, take a moment and subscribe to the channel, because actually that is what really makes me stay here. And that is what makes me grow every day. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, support me by subscribing to it and like the video. I thank you so much. Already got 5 likes. I really appreciate. So Mishi Zero, Emmanuel Ouma, Mrs. Angel, thank you so much for being the top fans. And the reality is that tunachezwa by politicians. Because somebody already said that, what is the plan for the opposition? And you've seen the plan that GACHAGUA is coming up with. Is it the same plan that Maraga has? What about Matiang? What about the rest of them? Okay, let's continue with the analysis. Hey.
Kila mtu asanye zake. Pale mwisho next year, hapo after Christmas, tuketi tuweke kura kwa meza, tupige hesabu, tuulizane nani atapeperusha bendera as one candidate only against William Ruto. We have not settled on anybody, and it's not it. There is only one thing that has been agreed on. One term. Government is huge. There is space for everybody. And we'll agree who takes what position, provided we come up with a formula. In this video, let us look at two things.
EMM production, I like your thought. No fight in opposition. That is government through NIS, using KTN to confuse opposition. Wakenya si wajinga. Now, let's reason it this way. Maybe opposition hawana fight, but in my thought and in my analysis, I'm believing that there are some parties or rather candidates who are being raised by the government. That one, be for sure. You will see it at the end of the day, EM production. You will actually see this. Because I don't see how so many parties are now arising, and some people whom I've never even thought they would actually come up in politics are now coming up. I really suspect, like somebody said, there's somebody who said it, and it's a very, was it Manyora or who? Dr. Manyora Haman. He said that there is a way in which there are some candidates who are coming up, and some of them are paid already by the government, to just make sure that they go in as presidential candidates and confuse and mix up everything. I hope they'll not confuse Kenyans, because Kenyans should actually identify who is who in the process, so that if there is any intention that everybody has, they get it. Because I'm seeing that possibility. Thank you so much, Emma Production, for coming on the channel. I really appreciate when I see people coming by and actually sharing their thoughts. Politics is a hot thing. Now let's get to something. And meanwhile, I hope you people understand that Susan Njoki was actually, the autopsy report came, and it is indicated that she died from manual strangulation, you know. These are sad situations that we meet every day in Kenya. Again, we saw something about Eliud Lagat, and they were actually indicating that he was on leave, something like that, you know. These are sagas. Life Saga TV always comes out with to share with you and ask you to go investigate, check out on them, you know. Now, let's see. Just some few hours ago, Millie Ojambo, the bad girl, came up with something, and she was like, Gachagua is being very honest about pushing Kikuyu agenda. I don't know. What was that?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, indeed, I better look at the standing order and see whether you want to so move. Honorable Millie Mabona. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I want to agree with Honorable Murangara that we need to actually go by that standing order number 96. The reason being, I was actually, unfortunately, because I'm multitasking in this era of technology, I was trying to look at the schedules to the Constitution, whether how the tribes are defined. And indeed, if the law does not define Kalenjin, then you cannot also cluster as Kalenjin. And similarly, I would hope, because I know everybody is very keen on the issue of communities, I hope that if you get this opportunity to go back and look at your report, that when you also talk of the Luo, I hope that you have not put Suba in it, because Suba is also a very distinct tribe. So that when you put Luos as very high, and then Subas have got nothing. Mr. Speaker, I'm actually lucky because I'm half Suba and half Luo. Suba is a Bantu tribe. Luo give you a chance if you have a matter to raise.
Yes, thank you. I've been told I look nice, but thank you. But you know, I'm kind of always nice, you know. But you know, it's in my DNA. But having said that, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to say that I hope, and I strongly participated. Actually, probably 3/4 of that bill that you are repealing to bring a new one, I actually contributed towards it. And I want to urge that as a country, let us take the issues that are bedeviling this country seriously. And one of it is the issues of skewed appointments. And because of that, give correct representation of figures. Even if it affects my own community, I will tell you that is wrong. Let us remember others. But in your computation, also let us look at it vis-a-vis populations. So that, for instance, if Kikuyus are dominant and we know their population, we cannot vilify them for that. But it must be proportional to their, so that you don't say that Kikuyus get, say, for instance, 90%. What is the rest of the country, 10%? But on the other hand, is Kikuyu is whatever, 40%, it may make sense, except that law does not allow that. We actually put a percentage in that law for a purpose. So I'd request, Mr. Speaker, that they go back. I agree with, even though I'm anticipating, but I'd agree and I support Honorable Murungara that the committee goes back and requests better information that users.
Okay, so you heard that, you know. The aspect of pushing for agenda based on the tribal aspects, you know. So many people in Kenya, of course, they're agitated when people go tribal, when they speak in their language, when they are pushing agendas for their regions, you know. So allegedly what you can hear Millie Ojambo saying, though it's not allowed in the law, she agrees that somehow the representation based on the percentage of people is actually acceptable. Now this is, I'm just bringing this because it's bringing that aspect of the fight, not actually that I'm saying that there's a battle, but the fact that now people are pushing an agenda in which they want Gachagua to vie, Maraga to vie, Gachagua, Maraga. At the same time, they want to push somebody else like Omutata. Who else? And by the way, if I may ask, when are elections? Are they really 2027? Everybody's talking about 2027, but I heard something through Obina Show, and it was indicated that it's supposed to be 2026. I don't know. I'm just pushing it to you so that you give a response if you have any idea about what will happen. Now let's get back to something else here. Kimani Ichung'wah. Before we go to Kimani Ichung'wah, I want us to look at this one.
Elections are going to be held, are supposed to be held on 2026.
Yes.
We all know it's 2027. Corinne? 2027?
Simon G.
Kevo?
Hi.
2027. Pato? 2027. Davido? 2027. Ones? 2027. Mluo? 2027. Oh, uliona video yake. Michelle? 2027.
I'm very fine. How are
Government?
you?
Munez?
Is that I'm elected into office for 5 years. Show me in your constitution where the president, the member of parliament, the governor, the senator is elected to serve for 5 years. Where? It doesn't exist.
They are not elected to serve for 5 years.
They are not elected to serve for 5 years.
Thank you.
Previously, in our old constitution, Understand this.
Okay.
Section 9 of the old constitution was very clear. The president shall be elected to serve for a period of 5 years. Specifically included in the old constitution.
Okay.
When Kenyans came up with this 2010 constitution, they removed that section 9. And they said the term of office of a president, Article 142. The term of office shall run from the date he is sworn in to the date when the person next elected president under Article 136 2A is sworn in. There is no 5 years. So everybody must remove the 5-year thing. But legacy politicians every day they stand up. Mimi nilichaguliwa miaka 5. I'm elected for 5 years. Where?
Ngoja napata hiyo wapi hapa?
Article 142. Numbers on the side are called articles. So like
so guys, I'm reading from the Constitution of Kenya, Constitution of 2010.
Yes.
That's correct?
Yes.
Article 142, sub-article 1. Election of members of parliament being
the date of the last general elections, 9th of August, 2022. The Constitution in Article 259, 5C, tells you how to calculate years.
259.
259. No, these are the side.
This other side.
That was a digression.
2026. Now he is the system.
That was a digression, actually, because I got that during the day that instead of 2027, the election should be 2026. How about that? So thank you so much for those who are coming. I still wait for the likes. Thumbs up on the side, please. I have 6 and I'm expecting 20, so I'm still below average in the likes. So keep up giving the likes. I'm going now to get the other part. Hey. Hey, this child is coughing. Really. Okay, thank you. 7 out of 20. Thank you for the like. Somebody has added there. Now, let's get into this. Yeah, so sometimes we always say in Kenya, what is said is there. And if it's not there, it's forthcoming. So guys, I've been checking on these different political platforms. And if you look at Kalonzo Musyoka, he said that he will not continue to be carried around, you know. When we look at Matiang, people are actually really pushing him to become the candidate. And now, in today's video, I watched something on La Queenie who was saying that GACHAGUA is declaring himself as the most powerful candidate. You know? Amidst speculations of a mess by IEBC. Now let's get to here, by the way. Yeah, so guys, let's get here. There was this tough interview that Malala was engaged, and people were like asking him, why did GACHAGUA use mother tongue while in USA? You know, why?
It's collapsing because people have stopped paying taxes. People have stopped investing. They are waiting for a new government. The way you are holding your money here, that is what people are doing in Kenya.
And the president has been speaking, of course. What has Cousins been
cousins means, it's a political, in this context, it's a political word extending to people with like-minded ideologies for now. So as anybody...
So the like-minded, you said you're from the Luya community. Yes. So the like-minded of Luya community is in Taita Taveta.
And even in Luoland, anybody who has a mind that does not agree with the current establishment, to us, in the political context. But of course, in the family setup, a cousin is a brother or sister to your aunt, or a child to your aunt or your uncle. And therefore, do not put a lot of negative energy when it comes to ethnic organization. There is nothing wrong, Sam, being identified as a lawyer. Okay. GACHAGUA has done no mistake identifying himself as a Mlima. Remember when they were impeaching him? They said that this guy is a villager. You are the same people who branded GACHAGUA as a villager. He went back to Wamunyoro and said, okay, yes, I am a villager. And then you started telling him that he's tribal. He accepted and said, yes, okay, I am Kikuyu, but I want to go and look for my cousins. Again, you do not want him to unify the country.
The cousins.
Through the cousin relationship. And therefore, that is not ethnicity.
Oh, okay. So
let me ask you something.
Sorry, I'll get back to you. Are you a brother or a cousin now?
Sam, I actually do not know, but I'm very much amused by the definition of a cousin.
Yeah.
With respect to Honorable Malala.
The political setup.
I don't think there is any political definition of a cousin. We are talking to also students in school. People are learning English maybe for the first time. I think a cousin is a relative. And a relative, that cousin is used here to try and bring people who are related in one way or another. When we spoke as UDA and said that we have a problem with the...
All right. So the discussion surrounding the word cousin and where it started, of course, people are looking at cousin when GACHAGUA was presenting a speech in Ukambani. And that is where he first used that word. So the opposition is being looked at, and specifically GACHAGUA, in relation to the word cousin, as a word that is engineering the Mrima context. However, remember that GACHAGUA went around to use other words as well. I don't know why they are not referring to brother. When he went to, was it Meru, he used brother. He went to Masai, he used shemeji. Then he came now to Western, he still used cousin. So ladies and gentlemen, what is your thought? Was this a divisive way where GACHAGUA was trying to divide, or was he uniting? Because this was a very hot discussion that was conducted in a TV station. And Malala was put at a task to define what cousins mean in the opposition. What is your thought, actually? If you're on the platform, you can contribute towards that through the chat as we get to other parts. I'm still digging more information and giving you time to also absorb and contribute. That's why I'm actually quiet. Hey, 9 out of 20. Hey, this power thing.
First thing I want us to look at is why Rigathi Gachagua is actually the front runner and can give William Ruto a run for his money. And number two, why William Ruto will easily defeat Rigathi Gachagua should he run. Before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two. Please, definitely the front runner because of several reasons. Number one, The main one is the game of numbers. Politics is a game of numbers, real or perceived.
All right, so guys, let's get to why I'm thinking that there is a battle that is going to come very soon and very soon in the opposition. And I'm not trying to be a prophet of doom, but ladies and gentlemen, if you have had a very keen eye, there has been a lot of discussion surrounding GACHAGUA. Many people felt that when he went to the US, the opposition now was taking a back seat. They avoided going to some of the meetings they had planned for, especially the one at Meru, for example. Why did they have to cancel it? The Nakuru meeting, you actually saw it was aborted. And GACHAGUA had to address it again, talk about it, on some of the questions which Kimani Ichung'wah has had to come about and begin questioning why he had to say so. And we've also seen, was it Sudi that came up saying that for whatever, questions GACHAGUA was raising or accusations, he need to answer. Now, you can clearly see that when such arguments are surrounding GACHAGUA alone, yet we have so many in his allies. What is that trying to tell us? Now, here is a kind of psychological war that we can talk about. Because already some people have set their mind that GACHAGUA should be the kingpin. On the other hand, there are those who have set their mind that Matiang'i should be. Because they are arguing that now that he was not actually a DP and he did not get out through impeachment process, he should be the one running for the seat. So of the two, it clearly comes out that there is a battle. Whether we say it directly or indirectly, that there is a battle between the two of them, even before we bring in other individuals, So let's get to see the members and see what we can establish out of this. Yeah, of course, in the equation we are forgetting Karua, because when they went to the US, of course, we saw Karua going alongside GACHAGUA. And while they're there, they are pledging for unity. When you talk about, I pledge my loyalty to the nation, what exactly does it mean? Let's look at this. Let's look at this here.
Life's too short for this.
Let's play it. I want to mute this, then play it, and you actually see the wording as I also read through that. So what does the wording say? GACHAGUA and Karua pledge oppositional unity. Democracy for Citizens Party leader Rigathi Gachagua has affirmed his unwavering support for opposition unity ahead of the vowing to stand behind whichever candidate is chosen through the coalition flag bearer formula. Speaking during the USA tour Monday 21st, Gachagua declared himself a top contender for the and holds the strongest chance to defeat the president. However, he pledged to put the coalition interest ahead, promising to support the candidate endorsed through the grid internal process. Gachagua revealed that Musyoka, Eugene, Martha, Fred, George, Okia will hold internal primaries after Christmas 2028, reinforcing message for collective sacrifice. During the official launch, Karua clarified that transparency. Okay. So guys, you've seen that message, haven't you? You've seen that message right there. That message tells you that already Gachagua feels like he is the most powerful candidate to contest. However, he is insinuating that in case it is said otherwise in their agreement, then he will let somebody do. Now let's look at politics. For those who have deeply gone through politics, you understand politics is a game of numbers, one thing. The other thing is that you have to bring something on table. Now currently, which party is actually taking over the regions where we normally talk about numbers? The other thing is when you come to the aspect of powerful speeches and an individual is going about the country and are actually attracting the following and actually making the president shake amongst his allies, who is it? Hi, viral videos. Thank you for coming here. I'm waiting for more likes. Targeting 20 so far at 9. So remember to give me a like. I also seen the Gire Sarah. Give me a like, please. Thank you. 10 out of 20. At least I'm at average. Okay. So when you look at that message, actually, the entire message, though it was running very fast, the fact that both Karua and Gachagua, while in USA, they are pledging that the opposition must unite. They seem to be sensing something. You know, they are sensing that it's possible that some of their members may be used sooner or later. And of course, we had heard speculations about Kalonzo Musyoka so far. Now, I also don't understand why Maraga has had to come up as a candidate for the presidential seat when in the same place we have Matiang'i. That's something I've not understood. Now, of course, he is the leader, Rigathi is the leader of Democracy for Citizens, that is DCB. And he has said that he is really supporting the opposition. Of course, we know why. For personal reasons and some others that he's mentioning in public. Of the video, I touched something there. All right. That message also, when you read, it tells us something else. That they'll have a coalition, right? And they'll have a formula towards whoever will take over. I hope it's not about the previous thing about shares that finally broke them down, because everybody was like, I went by shares. The speaker was given shares, Mudavadi was given shares. I hope it will not be that. So we are seeing here the rest, they're talking about they'll declare the candidate, but they think currently the top contender should be Gachagua. Are you getting that? But personal ambitions will be set aside. Now, I just don't understand, because when I look at the pain that Gachagua went through after he was downplayed by Ruto, as a political analyst, I don't see how then he would allow again to be downplayed and become a second position. I don't know. That is my feeling though. The bitterness that he went through after impeachment, and we saw him saying that I did everything for him. I even financed. I even went around to talk to the people of Mrima. I even cheated them, you know? You remember that? Let me ask you guys, have you ever been betrayed? Either by family, by a lover, at work, or by your child? Ever been betrayed? I think these people mostly don't allow second chances. They don't. So ladies and gentlemen, it's automatic that if someone has ever been betrayed, they don't allow second chances. They'll always want to be the first in the game. So I'm just trying to imagine a situation where, again, Gachagua will allow somebody to go in the way he did for Ruto. And that time, of course, he was allowing it because nobody had known him much to do with politics at that level. But now that he knows, I don't know whether you think that if they don't pick on him, he would allow somebody to go in, so that again he's downplayed. So I hope you absorb that information and the fact that there'll be transparency. So everybody in the gang of opposition, from Martha Karua to Gachagua to Okia Mtata to Kalonzo Musyoka to Eugene Wamalwa, they are currently telling us that all of them want to be leaders, or rather presidents, even not just leaders. But at the same time, they are proving to us that they'll be selfless. And I'm yet to prove that we have Kenyan leaders who are selfless. I'm yet to prove that. But they'll be proving me wrong, maybe sooner or later. Now let's go for Wamalwa here, 23 minutes ago. Hey, these kids.
Bid, terming himself as the perfect counter to President Ruto.
Kia sasa tuna wagombezi watano wa urais. Kwa chama cha DAP Kenya nimeidhinishwa Eugene Wamalwa kuwa mbeba bendera. Kwa DAP Kenya nimetunikiwa hiyo heshima na naamini I'll be the best presidential candidate ever.
Speaking in sync with DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua, who has also declared his intentions to ascend to State House, Wamalwa, while in Karen, allayed any fears of possible division within their camp over who will be the flag bearer.
Na hatutaingia huo mtego ambao hao wanataka eti tuwaonyeshe our candidate prematurely. Hiyo hatutakubali. Vile tumesema, wakati ukifika mwaka ujao tutaonyesha ni nani.
However, a section of Kenyans maintained that sending President Ruto home come 2027 requires a solid cutout plan and not just mere political announcements.
Agenda ya jinsi watakavyofanya kazi waweze kuboresha maisha ya wananchi hakuna. Hawajakuwa na hiyo mpangilio. Ni nini tunataka kufanyia wananchi? Wanazungumza mambo ya abduction, wanazungumza mambo ya gharama ya maisha, lakini hawajatuambia wao watafanya nini waondoe hii mambo na abduction.
Hakuna kuungana, hawawezi kuungana kwa sababu kila mtu wako na ambition yake. Kalonzo amekuwa senior, hawezi kubali nani Gachagua achukue kiti, ndio senior.
Kwa ile mtu wife anajua siasa sana, uweze sema nani atachaguliwa sahi. No, you cannot predict that.
Another question of what new substance they are bringing to the table also stands out among Kenyans.
So when you tell us Maraga, we love him. He's a Kenyan. Alifanya nini wakati alikuwa huko kama si.
Now, you can actually see that every single leader is proving to be, every single leader in this line is actually declaring themselves, and they are saying this is a strategy to ensure that they don't prematurely announce their candidate. However, one thing is actually astonishing to the Kenyans. Currently we are so tired with a lot of things, and the citizens, if you go by, even when I come to this platform, many people are like, okay, these people are talking, what is their plan? And Rigathi only gave a plan to counter what the president had said, but they have not come up with a plan that is suiting the Kenyan situation. Like, Kenyans want a plan, strategic plan on how they'll eliminate this extrajudicial killing. What will they do? I normally watch a lot of Jamaican politics. And when PNP candidate stands in Jamaica, they say that instead of ICT, I'm going to have policing in which I'll reform the citizens and then make them internalize what the problems they have and sort out the issues within the community. Another candidate stands maybe from PNP or JLP and says, what I want to do for Jamaicans is to actually bring ICT that will enhance robots and bring citizens close to the police. However, when we look at these candidates, none of them is telling us, for example, they are coming to end extrajudicial killings. How? How? We are also looking at the way they are telling us that they are going to end corruption. But are they telling us how? Like, it's high time they sit together and tell us, we are going to end corruption by maybe ensuring that we declare funds that come out of whether it is the treasury and channel it to use in a certain way. That we are going to have these leaders have less control of money, but maybe the county government through certain kitties have this. We are going to have auditors from external bodies or something like that, So they are not telling us the solutions and the strategic plan yet. So far, this is something that citizens are waiting for. Citizens are waiting for that moment because it's like just a counter. Ichungwa speaks, Gachagua answers. The president speaks, Gachagua responds. The president speaks, Sifuna responds. The president speaks, Halwale responds. Mudavadi speaks, Eugene Wamalo responds. Mudavadi speaks, maybe Huisina Tembea responding. That is what is happening, like a backlash. Are you getting? So that backlash is not actually occurring well with the citizens. Personally, want to be told these are the problems and these are the solutions we are going to provide, and this is how. Because we've had this narrative of tutamaliza umaskini, tutaleta bottom-up economy, tutaondoa umaskini. But what is the strategy? We don't want to be told just like it has been, a ritual all the time. Thank you, guys. I can see some people online. If you've not liked the video, consider liking. I am at 10. I am looking forward to 20 out of 20 likes, guys. So please support me in giving likes. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed. Share my videos so that we grow together. So, guys, of course, you have seen battles in the opposition from citizens. And I was surprised, like people like Wanga now are talking about Sisi. Gladys Wanga has come up strongly now saying that we as the government, we are going to support Ruto. I saw Mbadi also saying that Luos, arm yourself with the IDs. And I was like, okay, are we going tribal? Everybody now? Because like there was this, if you saw on Tuko News, Mbadi had said that now, Luos, arm yourself with IDs and that will rescue you. And I was like, okay. Here we are arguing as Kenyans, not as a tribe. This aspect of dividing people into tribal aspects is dead and gone. What we want to see is a strategy and how. And it should be realistic because, again, ladies and gentlemen, what kills us in Kenya is that the politicians play with our minds and we don't ask them questions. When they come to us, they give us very unrealistic manifestos. Like when they were giving this thing of bottom up and using a wheelbarrow as a symbol, I was very, very pessimistic about that. Life is not easy. You can't just push something in a minute up. It can't happen. And you can actually see that it's not working. And again, priorities. Like if somebody comes to you and tells you that I'm going to construct a house, contribute tax to build this house, then from there you will own it. But you are saying that house is maybe 3 million. You as citizens, we as citizens, we have the power to argue against and say that that is not going to be realistic, you know. It can only be realistic to the rich, but the majority of Kenyans are not rich. They are not, you know. The aspect of saying that Mama Mboga is going to be the richest person, that is unrealistic because how can somebody suddenly just become rich? Even the aspect of saying that people would have internet for free. So Kenyans should now be bright enough and brilliant to ask questions and challenge the politicians. And that is why the oppositional candidates, people should put them to task. The media houses should begin calling them for interviews one by one, you know, and asking them, putting them to task to explain to Kenyans what is their strategy, what is their manifesto, how are they going to apply the manifesto, and how realistic is their manifesto? What structures are they going to use? What resources would they have? And somebody should even ask them, in case you get to office and there is a zero fund, what will you do? Because last time, after Kenya Kwanza was voted in, the first argument they started to say is that they don't have money. Unfortunately, currently they have more than enough. And that is why we saw that now the president is able to build a church at 1.5 billion. We also saw Oscar Sudi going to Kapsaret with a lot of money and putting on a lot of empowerment program. But when they went recently to, was it Kajiado? When they went to Kajiado, when they went to Machakos, when they went to Kitui, that money was not there. Unfortunately. Unfortunately. And let's look at this backlash.
Once the word filled with hope has now become a political catchphrase used loudly across rallies and public forums. As the country inches closer to the 2027 elections, government-allied politicians are traversing the nation, handing out money and promising prosperity under the banner of empowerment. But away from the cameras and cheering crowds, the reality on the ground is damning and heartbreaking for many. Hopes for a change in their economic fortunes are dimmed, with some people getting as low as 64 shillings. Melita Oletenges reports.
Bottom up in the books, but trickle down on the ground. Empowerment programs have become a chorus that government-allied politicians sing only too well. It is debatable, however, whether the song is becoming popular, as there is more than meets the eye, according to Kenyans who have been party to these events, mobilized with the promise of being empowered and walking home with big money. only to go back hopeless instead. The events are attended by a sea of people and the money collected from the top echelons in colossal sums. But beyond this mirage lies something more sinister. The money collected disappears into thin air. Expectations reduced to mere pocket change that can hardly buy a soda and a quarter of a loaf of bread.
Sijui nipatie nani, niache nani, na kikundi ni watu 31. Widows and the widowers. Sasa sijui nifanye nini. Watafikia nimechukua pesa yao, watakuja kwangu sijui siseme. Sijui nitawaambia nini. Nashangaa. Aki Bwana Ruto, nilikuwekea kura. Si ungetuwekea hata cheki bana badala ya kuleta kashi. Hii kashi hata iliona pesa kwa kikapu imejaa.
Hey. It's not humorous, is it? It's not. But then, should I cry also? So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the reality we face when we are told this, and on the other hand, this is done. Actions speak louder than words. As you can actually see, the empowerment program have become also another source of disillusionment to many citizens in the country. All right? And if the government is not very keen about what they are doing, this will be one tool that will be used to send them home, you know? Now, one thing that is also amazing me or surprising me is how the politicians turn to use abuses, you know. Of course, I used to think that Sudi is the one that really uses that, only to learn that even Kimani Ichung'wah is a master of abuse, you know. I didn't know. Let's just get there. Let's look at this. Where did he speak this apart? He spoke. All right, let me get to this one. Yeah, this one here.
Winfrey Owino, KTN. The political temperature in Kenya is steadily rising, and recent remarks by National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah attacking the spouse of former Deputy President Pastor Dorcas Rigathi have ignited a firestorm of criticism.
Unajua mimi hata ukiangalia mapu yangu mimi ni shemeji yenyu. Na wewe bibi yako ni hapo tu amekukalia.
We are also going to ensure that as we continue calling out Kimani Ichung'wah, we are going to hope and pray that once elections are going to come in, that such members will no longer be part of parliament, because you cannot allow such people to be called honorable members.
Ile nguvu ambayo mnatumia kukimbiza wanawake wa DCP, mtumie nguvu hiyo hiyo kushika Kimani Ichung'wah.
Adding his voice to the chorus of disapproval is former President William Ruto's senior economic advisor Moses Kuria, urging leaders to keep families out of the political battles. And I quote, "Since the next phase of this war will be vicious and bloody, let us have our version of the Geneva Convention. Keep families out of politics." End of quote. For months now, the public has watched as former Deputy President Rigathi GACHAGUA and Kimani Ichung'wah once
All right. You heard that, did you? That is how bad our honorable, are they honorable or horrible? Horrible members of parliament or horrible leaders instead of honorable leaders. That's how horrible it is for them, you know? So disappointing. Anyway, what do we do? But of course, it's all a backlash, as I told you. We've seen, again, people from the same region going against each other. We've seen even how Halwale was shouting around, blaming, or rather mentioning, he mentioned something to do with Mudavadi. He mentioned something to do with Malala. He mentioned something to do with, you know, all that is happening. We've even seen that at Nyanza also, you know. We saw the parliament also, if you watched a lot, Sifuna, Cheriot being very uncomfortable, yeah, with Mudeu being a cousin to Sifuna. Don't worry. Ima Production says, do you? That even Raila will join opposition come 2026. It's possible. There's a lot of people who have suggested that he will be joining, but I just wonder whether his legacy will stand. Will his legacy stand? Because I don't think any sane person would actually, again, follow him after anyway, this happens in Kenya. As I've said, Kenyan politics is it's a weird one. It has come out as a weird one because like people just do some stuff, you know, and that is why I was trying a lot to compare Kenyan politics with Jamaican politics. Jamaican politics are a bit mature, even though they have their own sicknesses, but I'm looking at them closely and I'm seeing some maturity that is beyond Kenya, you know. So it's possible. Nothing is impossible in my production. It's expected. 11 out of 20. Guys, continue to give me the likes. I'm waiting for 20 likes. 20 likes. So far I have 11. I'm waiting for 9 more. And I have 7 people on the platform. If you give me 7, I would be at 18. And subscribe to the channel. If you give me the 8 likes, I would be at 19. So guys, give me the likes before I go and sleep. Yeah, so in fact, what I would say on this channel is that many of our leaders in Kenya are led by greed, selfishness, impunity. What else? Selfishness, greed, impunity, and they play you know, politics that is there for scheming purposes, manipulative politics. That is the major problem we have in Kenya. Manipulative politics born on greed, selfish interest, impunity, and some of them, they kind of play blackmail. Because now, how do we explain when Kuria comes out saying that Rigathi actually blamed him for sponsoring Mungiki, Mungiki or other groups? So he now comes and says, why is Rigathi saying this? And yet, he's the one who sent goons to steal goats at Uhuru Kenyatta's farm. Look at that. Look at that. And that is why on this platform I've always said that most of our politicians are just, all of them are monkeys. The difference is forests. Others are from Banti Forest, while others are from Mau Mau Forest. Then we have those who are at, you know, they are at the parks. You can go to This the Tsavo Park. Then others are found at Amboseli Park. So all these politicians currently, they are like monkeys, but they just change the forest. The parties become different forests which they change and then come back to us. They might have just been in this cocoon of greed, impunity, derogatory leadership, you know, despotic rules. And then they just change their shells and come back. And unfortunately, people trust them, production is like root about bad politics. Unfortunately, he's the one who has gone solo amongst all the leaders. Of course, when you look at the impunities that have been happening, they have run since Kenyatta's time, the former Kenyatta. The aspect of witch hunting, like even those extrajudicial killings have been there, corruption has been there, selfishness has been there, greed has been there. And that is why we can see that every politician who comes, they try to own land in different places, save for, I think, Kibaki. But still, he also experienced those other aspects of extrajudicial killings. Some people were killed during their time. There was some sort of corruption, but you can compare and see the threshold, especially during Kibaki's time, it kind of reduced. However, most of these politicians in the past could keep quiet and do some things under the radar. Like somebody would not actually accuse them directly. They would be accused in general as a leadership, and they would just keep quiet even when people are doing such stuff. Unfortunately, for Ruto, he has proven to some point that he knows. Like when abductions were going on, he came out to say that, I will talk to these people and they'll stop. That suggested directly that he knew. When the extrajudicial killings have been happening, he comes out and also talks about it. And sometimes he says, hata kama nimevumilia, imetosha, you see. Corruption that has been going on, you kind of see very close circle around him being mentioned, and sometimes, like, it's very questionable to come up with 1.5 billion shillings and then you're just saying it's my money. It's my money. It's not some money gotten from elsewhere, you see. And then, like, things to do with the change of national health insurance to SHA. Like things to do with the buying of some of the cooperatives, the installing of leaders in all these corporates with the name suggestive of a tribe, things to do with shares and all that we have seen, the accusations around directly, are supposed to be answered to by him. So you find that even though these things might have been there, but the extreme has reached currently, the extreme has reached currently. And the fact that he's actually targeted specific people quietly, like every time demonstration happens, we kind of get numbers. They tell us that only 30 people died, but in reality, when people dig down, they say there are so many, maybe in 200s. We are not told exact, but there are so many. The reality that you actually find disappearances that are not accounted for, it has just gone to a high level, It has gone to a very different level that was not there then, even though there were those killings and corruption was there. But it has reached the limit because actually, when you look even at current situation in production, down in villages, even in the streets of Nairobi, I'm very sure the rate of stealing has gone high. It has gone high. You cannot walk safely on the streets and think that you are safe. And if people suspect you have even money in the house, they'll come for you so easily. As I'm talking, there is a colleague who was actually attacked around 7:40. And he was attacked. People picked his phone, forcing him to give the M-Pesa PIN. And they were just holding machetes because they were riding bikes and all that. And these people are not one group or two. This is an incident that has been going on for a while. And I know it's not only happening in one place or another. Then, something that I've also observed is that petty thieves have become so many. So many that you cannot afford to leave your home without someone go maybe somewhere for 3 days and come back, find everything safe. Something will be gone. You know, people are stealing almost everything because I think there's a very high level of desperation. I do sell some items. When I compare maybe before elections, I was selling more and at least surviving than now. It's hard time. If anybody has ever read a book known as Hard Times by Henrik Ibsen, you actually understand what I'm talking about, you know. So the battles are not just in the opposition or suggested battles, but they are also in the government, and also government against opposition, and again government against the citizens. Because what we are suffering is more than a war. But how long will this go around? You know? That's the unfortunate bit. And of course we could discuss, go on and on and on, and even go to there's something I saw during the day. What was this? Oh, Boniface Mwangi. Boniface Mwangi being arraigned in court for terrorism charges. That was one thing that I was to finish with. You know, when we do live streams, we mix a lot of stuff, but we only use few on the title. As for me, I put a lot of stuff. Yeah, so there was something about Boniface Mwangi. Let me see whether that video is still here, because I had reserved them for some future reference. But of course, all of you know what happened to Boniface Mwangi. He was actually put to, was it Kahawa? For some days, 2 days in the cell before he was arraigned in court on charges of terrorism. Then they said that he was a financier. But then when you look at Boniface Mwangi, actually he should be the last person to do so. Because we have always seen him, you know, fighting for rights. We've seen him fighting for a better life. And so, amazingly, it came up so good that, let's just check here. Yeah, here, this video, if you didn't watch, let's finish with this one. This one here.
Have vanished, replaced. Despite the uncertainty surrounding his freedom, Mwangi expressed confidence that he will not face the terrorism charges initially indicated by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations DCI during his arrest on Saturday. And indeed, the script had changed. Accusations of terrorism were gone.
You are charged of being in possession of ammunition.
Like a snake shedding its skin, the DCI had dropped terrorism charges and Mwangi was now facing 2 charges. Unlawful possession of ammunition and 3 tear gas canisters. However, his lawyers demanded an explanation from the DCI for what they termed as defamation through social media.
Hate Robert.
be ordered by this court to rectify that damaging, disparaging information contained on that hurdle.
Further, Martha Karua petitioned for the case to be transferred to the Milimani law courts on grounds that Boniface was not facing terrorism charges. His legal team also raised concerns about a potential rearrest in a manner that bypassed transparency or fairness.
Should we just make a commitment with each other that he will not be rearrested once we leave these premises?
As Mwangi's saga continues to unfold, the defense now wants the court to summon the DCI Director Mohammed Amin to explain the details of Mwangi's arrest, including the evidence that DCI recorded has been collected from Mwangi's residence.
Mr. Amin,
Yes.
be summoned before you
Yes.
to come and explain and expound.
Critics argue
1st of August.
Mwangi was later freed on a personal bond of 1 million Kenyan shillings.
Our president is scared. He's scared of young people because young people are organizing by themselves. They're going to the streets, they're demanding better. So our president thinks that people are being paid to go to the streets. And they think I'm the financier.
Whether justice will prevail or political dissent, as they say, will continue to carry the prize remains to be seen as the nation...
So that is the last bit as we end. Guys, when an activist is called a terrorist in a country, what remains? How much can be thrown under the dog? How many will be thrown to the dogs? All right, I was waiting for 20 likes, but I've just gotten 11. I am so appreciative for the 11 people who gave me likes. And if there is anybody still in the house who wishes to give me a like, consider doing so before we come to an end. And thank you for being so active, especially in production was very active. Saimo G and who else? Yeah, especially in productive. Emmanuel Ouma was so tired with the political discussions he does not want. Saimo SG maintained some discussion. Then in production did a lot of discussion. So thank you guys. It's late into the night. I'll have to sleep, but at least I've achieved my target of doing a live stream today. I didn't want to sleep before I did it. Tomorrow I'll be doing maybe at least 2, because I know the kind of work I'm left with is not so much, and I must create time to do some live stream early morning, maybe around 8 there, then something else around 2, as I go to the other channel, Edutainment for Us. For those of you who could wish to also support me in social reactions and educational and entertainment, you can get also to Edutainment for Us channel, Edutainment for Us TV, and get to support me there. At least that platform, I have 2,260 subscribers and have been monetized. So I'm actually fighting now to get the goal of monthly aspect. But here, let's keep going. I know at the end of the tunnel, there is light. Because everything you do with a dream, you can actually make the reality. And it's because of you people who are supporting, watching my videos, and always being there for me. And actually, I should be doing a lot of murder mysteries also, because I created this channel with the interest of covering such stories, researching and getting to just have them. And all those stories have their, their role. Political analysts or analysis helps us to understand the temperatures and also weigh things and also see things in a different perspective, And tomorrow I'll be doing something on Jamaican politics, maybe a bit of, I'll bring in some Kenyan aspects and all that. Remember, there's a currently election that will be going on in Uganda, Tanzania, Togo. We have Ivory Coast, that is Cote d'Ivoire, and Cameroon, as well as Jamaica. So I keep talking about these different places, and I also find a lot of discussion around USA, because it's actually one of the places that has a lot of stuff, things to do with the immigration rules that have changed. things to do with a discussion surrounding the Obama and the wife, and so many other things, mask, and a lot of stuff. And when you look at UK, we have also a lot of things to talk about. And so I have a lot of subscribers who are coming up from different countries, including India. And I would wish that I do something on India. I've heard those from Turkey also talking to me. And I would wish to keep everything live, keep everything live. Some few South Africans. And of course, we know Malema from there. Malema from there. And we have others from... I've had some friends from Sydney who watch me on the other channel and even here. So I'll keep going. And if you actually wish to support our channel, you are free to do so. During chats, you can ask or reach me and anytime, and we can continue growing together as we build whatever you have to build. And if you are active into this discussion, especially on the chats, you really mean a world to me. And even the likes that I've received, I received 11. I was targeting 20. I hope next time we'll have more likes. We'll have more likes on the channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing. You can also share my videos. And let's keep the wheel. Let's keep steering the wheel, because tomorrow we can never tell what happens tomorrow. So have a good night for those whose place it's night, and for those who have a day, you can actually start a nice day. As for me, I'm going to rest so that tomorrow I can have the energy to pick up again and get into my business. I'm also having Music Hills channel where I'm creating music and putting them there. So you can also go watch Music Hills. Thank you so much, in production. So when you go to Edutainment for Us channel, as I've told you, it's an educational reaction, social reaction, and also entertaining channel. That is my channel also. Then I have a channel where I create my music and post. That is Music Hills TV. That one I just create music. It can be political music, social music, birthday music, whichever. I create them and post them there. And that's just how to hustle in Kenya, yeah, that's just how to hustle in Kenya. And I'm thinking of writing some book. I do also write a lot of books when I get time to. I've written some storybooks. I've written some plays. I've written primary texts and critical analysis texts, guidebooks and all that. Revision books. I always do that, You just have to keep moving when you're alive. A lot of stuff keep you busy, and that's how to live. Actually, I found solace in doing all these things, because sometimes that is just what you have to do to survive, I'm also growing on Facebook, professional. For those of you who are here and you would be interested to grow on Facebook professional, it's one of the ways of also growing your growth and also monetization. So with the Kasongo economy, you have to hustle all around. So I have a Facebook professional channel known as Priska Twenje. So I keep growing there. And of course, I'm targeting at least 5.5 thousand followers. I'm around 2.6 thousand, 2,600 followers. So we have to go. That's what we have to do. So thank you so much. Gosomaleta came. So Gosomaleta, give me my like before I sleep. And I've seen some 6 more people. If they gave me likes, I would reach 18. I was targeting 20 out of 20, but then at least I'm at average 11 out of 20. So thank you so much, people. Adios. Gracias. And I think it's time I go rest. Bye bye for now. Thank you so much. God bless.